want to welcome, please, or if you could please welcome, Enda O'Dowd, who is a product design lecturer in the National College of Art and Design in Dublin. Enda, please.
Yeah. Thanks very much. So I got the easy gig of looking into the future. So crystal ball gazing, as designers often do, I suppose. And a lot of this stuff will have been talked about earlier today and maybe might have some answers to some of the questions you have. But designing any piece of packaging or any system these days is an incredibly complex thing. And even our department is a product design department, was in the industrial design department, is now product design. We've just recently changed into being product design and interaction design, because as you design a product, what you find these days is you're not just designing a physical product, you're designing the whole system that comes around it. So you're designing what the guys were talking about, that the packaging system, the barcodes, how the user interacts with it, and everything is about what we focus on is the user experience and the user interactions, and those are changing rapidly. So to look into the future, I decided maybe we should, the only way to look into the future is kind of look at the past and see what trajectory we're on. So I thought of my experience as a child growing up in West Kerry. Our milk didn't even come in bottles. We actually got it in a bucket from the local farmer. So yeah, very hipster these days. I always remember though sausages being tainted. I ate tainted sausage a couple of weeks ago, and I remember that when I was growing up, nearly every sausage I ever ate was tainted because our local shop didn't even have a fridge. That's how bad our supply chain was. Meat actually came in brown paper from a local farmer. We used to get our lamb from locally. Lucozade bottles, I remember recycling them, bringing them back to the shop, getting the refund on them. Lucozade and Sidona bottles were the two that you'd pull from wherever you could for a few bob. And the same when I went to Germany as a student. You know, you got your fand on your bottles. Cheese didn't come in package. It was on the counter and it was chopped off. I always remember this Varsity jar, which was, I can't remember what was in it, something on the sink, but basically that's what, now before my time even, marmalade came in, but we still had it probably 20 or 30 years later because it was a valuable piece of crockery, which was really nice. But I also remember when my father went to the pub and we'd be in the car and he'd bring us out a bag of crisps, and you'd get the bag of Tayto crisps, and there was one particular pub where they obviously had bought too many crisps at one point, and every crisp was soggy. You'd open this soggy crisp. So we've moved on a bit. So today we've got really complex packaging. It's great in many ways. We don't have soggy crisps anymore, mostly because a lot of our packaging now actually has a layer of aluminium, and you'll see that complexity in a lot of the packaging you look at. So you pick up most of the products in your shop and they will have a layer of aluminium. Aluminium is fantastic. It keeps out smells and tastes and moisture. It's a brilliant piece of material, but the fact is the aluminium is combined with several layers of plastic often. It's not recyclable because it is a really complex composite material, really difficult. This is my recycling, which I didn't have a green bin. I didn't have a bin until recently, and I was bringing it to this is probably a month from 4 people in the house, what I'm generating. Plastic, cans, bottles, aluminium, all of which can be recycled. Obviously, there's stuff going in the black bin as well, which can't be recycled. But the quantity is definitely increasing. You know, things are over-packaged. There's some great examples of over-packaging if you want to have a look on the web. I mean, this is a mango, which has a layer of, I would think probably polystyrene, foam polystyrene, with a PET top and a PET bottom. And then you've got your label, and I mean, crazy stuff. I mean, what's happening is madness, but it gives this great variety. So what's driving all this is actually, first of all, global brands. I love this. We think this is HB, but of course, the company that owns it is Unilever, and they own all these companies which are ice cream companies, and they've globally gone. You know, when you buy a Magnum, you think you're buying a HB Magnum. No, you're buying it could be Ola, it could be Walls, it could be any of these, and they've cleverly put the heart on them. So now they only have to put the heart on it, and you've got this global supply chain, which we didn't have years ago, but that means shelf life is really important. with this big global supply chain. Really clever marketing, but this is the complexity I'm talking about with the packaging. You need that layer of aluminium. You need to stop oxygen getting in, stop oxygenating your food. You need to stop transmission of gases. It's really complex. But the other thing that's really complex is automation, the rise of the robots. So the robots are packaging our foods, and that means you have to have a system whereby it can easily get the stuff in the package. So you might have noticed recently, up until recently, all our chocolate bars came in foil with a piece of paper on top. Now, you could recycle the foil, you could recycle the paper. It's all gone to flow wrap now. Why has it gone to flow wrap? Because we've got automation in our factories. So we can just put the chocolate bars and we can seal both ends and it's on the shelf. It's lovely, it's got a layer of aluminium in it because it'll have a longer shelf life. It's automated, yet we can't recycle it. So this is what's driving our packaging at the moment, in my opinion. What else is driving it? So what else is happening? We've got the supply chain is changing, so rather than physical shops, we're moving towards online. I think this is a great opportunity to reduce packaging because now there's no excuse to have branding, is there? Like, the branding is actually your screen on your smartphone or on your computer. We can do the branding that way. When I've shopped with SuperValu online a few times, and you know the crates come. I don't necessarily need. I've already made my decision as a consumer online. So there's a real opportunity for supermarkets and places like that to take the packaging out at that stage. If you want to go packaging free, we'll just deliver it in containers, which they're delivering, so they can take the container back, can't they? You know, you could have a completely circular economy that way. That's a real opportunity, I think. And you know, we're a bit away from delivery by drones in Ireland yet, but it's amazing how quickly these things are changing. Again, Amazon. What's the branding on Amazon? It's just a brown box with a, you know, there's no fancy packaging here. It's not about the fancy packaging. So, in my opinion, we're kind of back to the future. So a lot of the things I spoke about earlier, we've actually are coming back. When I was in Kerry a couple of weeks ago, I noticed in my local shop, Ballymac milk from North Kerry, and I see 50-cent refund for bringing back your glass bottle with a lovely metal top which can be screwed on. Absolutely brilliant. Lovely example of a closed loop cycle. Minimizing complexity, so trying to take the complexity out of the packaging. That's easy when you're doing a light bulb. Not so easy when you're doing a product that has a shelf life and has to be kept on a shelf for a long time. So that's going to be much more difficult, you know, the ways we do that. Yves Behar did this, again, it's like the varsity jar example, but it's something that you can reuse. So it's this fancy bag that Yves Behar designed. We're starting to go local. So the Ballymac milk example, it's not the only example, but we are trying to, and this regional, it's funny, I was watching on TG Cahir a program about a guy making poachine in Connemara, and it's that local, and that branding has become about local stuff and the value of local stuff. And the European Union is really recognizing that. So that's really nice. That may break down some of that global supply chain. And Marks and Spencer's had this example where they're tattooing their fruit. Can you do a barcode on it? Yeah, okay. So again, you know, and we have this move to reducing packaging and going to your local co-op or whatever. But again, you can see the lack of branding on here. If I own one of these, I haven't got the branding, so there is part missing in it. Now, from what Colin was talking about on the plastic side of things and on the repack, and what Niall was talking about leaving the packaging in your shop, it's actually illegal to leave your packaging in your shop, as far as I know, if the company is a member of Repack. Well, so it's okay to leave your packaging in the shop?
It's probably the other way around, is the retailer is basically saying, we're funding the system, so use the system.
Okay. So, but there is a packaging directive from Europe, and I lived in Germany, as you did, in the 80s, and it was Der Grüne Punkt is the German version. Brilliant system, fantastic. It's the polluter pays principle. So if I'm designing a piece of packaging, I am the one who's responsible for it and putting it on the market, which is what the packaging directive. So the packaging directive from Europe says if you've over a certain turnover, you have to, and you're putting packaging on the market, you have to take responsibility for it. Now, from a design perspective, that's brilliant, because now the stuff is coming back to me. I have to take responsibility for it. I have to redesign my packaging so that that system works. And it's the same with the WE directive and the end-of-life vehicles directive. It's a great principle. But in my opinion, Repack breaks that, because they take the responsibility away from the person who's producing the packaging, and they go, we'll take responsibility for it, we'll recycle it, and the person, the polluter, doesn't have the responsibility anymore. So for me, that's a bit of a breakdown in the system. We need to push it back onto the people that are producing the packaging. They need to be made responsible more. There's a difficulty there, and like Repack are doing a great job in lots of ways and doing lots of recycling and lots of initiatives. And they are giving the people who are, they're driving the people who are collecting the stuff, but they're not driving the people that are designing the stuff. So that's, sorry to end on a negative note, but like there's lots of great opportunities as well, I think. Okay,
Lovely.
Thanks very much.
Very much.